I'd like to give a quick presentation to everyone for a project called IOTW, which I'm an advisor for IOTW, right? I've been asked by their CEO to represent the company. CEO is a friend of mine, and in fact, I'd known this last minute, but knowing how wonderful everyone here is, and I haven't been to Bulgaria, I decided I want to come and share my take on the future of IoT and blockchain, and how certain projects such as IOTW is impacting it. So I'm going to spend 10 minutes basically going over a little bit about this project and how I think it is a very practical solution applying blockchain in IoT. All right. So as we spoke earlier in the panel, right, we talked about mass adoption of blockchain. And I think in order to have mass adoption of blockchain, we really need to have ways where blockchain can be used by everyday people like our family, all right? Not just the crypto geeks and the technologists, but people, just everyday people, but be able to apply it under the hood, meaning we don't even know it's there. And I think, for me, I've been, just a little background about myself, I've been a CSO and CIO of a $20 million a year IoT manufacturing company for the past 3 to 5 years, right? And so that was my previous career, and that's why I know a lot of things happening in IoT right now is pretty exciting, because I think when people talk about Industry 4.0, when people talk about AI, automation, I think blockchain technology has actually a lot of use in it. If we take a look at the growth, by 2020, statistics show there's about 50 billion connected devices by 2020, and that's a lot. And how do we leverage these devices with blockchain technology where it will empower and benefit everyday people who are the owners of these devices, whether it's your mobile phone, whether it is your air conditioner or whatnot. In fact, if you take a look at the enterprise market today, there's actually a lot of major players that are trying to do this. You have IOTA. How many of you heard of IOTA, right? IOTA has a lot of news, partnership here, partnership there. But the reality is there is no working tech yet, right? How many people heard of HTC, the Asian cell phone manufacturer? If you go to their website, they're right now trying to turn every HTC phone into a trusted node of some sort on their network, and they're entering on blockchain. In fact, one of my mutual colleagues from San Francisco, she is now asked to be running a crypto fund for HTC. So even HTC, which is a pretty legacy traditional tech company, is going into crypto, right? These are signs where, for me, as an investor and as a founder, where there is a lot of interest in applying IoT. And definitely it's one of the supply chain IoT, I believe, are one of the first few fields other than fintech where cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology will be used. So let's take a look at some quick overviews of IOTW. Its speeds, transactions per second, right? See, so IOTW right now can do up to 3,000 transactions per second, and it's not optimized. And this is not theoretical. This is actually proven. Fred, my friend Fred, who's the CEO of this project, he's ran 2 IPOs before in his life. He's a true technologist. He has multiple patents under his belt. This guy runs his office from the labs at Hong Kong University in Science and Technology. He basically, the first time when Fred pitched me IOTW, he carried this huge suitcase. It was really funny. It looked like a nuclear suitcase to me, like a bomb. And I was scared. I was like, what is this? He opened up the suitcase, and he had 300 motherboards, which are nodes he configured with his firmware already inserted in it. And basically he was like, hey, take a look at this, Dennis. Check out the computers. It can actually run 300 nodes at up to 3,000 transactions per second. He showed me it. So this is actually current live testing data from a real technology that's actually working. That amount of transactions per second is actually very impressive if you compare to IOTA that has 3 transactions per second. PayPal does 193, Visa does 24,000, Bitcoin only does 7, Ethereum only 25, right? EOS is around 3,000. And it's not a live tested, it's not a working mainnet yet. So one thing that what makes IOTW very different than, say, IOTA is It does not, it has mining, okay? So I believe that in order to push for a more decentralized ecosystem, you need to incentivize the end users. The decision shouldn't be made by a central source. If you're going to do that, then why even do blockchain? You should just go do distributed computing or do centralized computing architecture, right? So IOTW is one of the first optimized IoT chains I know that allows mining, meaning that each node, each individual, the owners of these devices can actually make money from it. I'll talk more about it in a second. It can do instant transactions. They'll work with any reward systems, and the transaction costs are fractions, very small, okay? The specific hardware required, IOTA requires, must run on some specific CPUs or hardware. IOTW can run on anything, really, but you know, it has to have hardware, has to have firmware added with their software added onto the firmware, but it can run on more devices. See, one of the big things is the reason why blockchain is very hard to work with IoT devices, such as your phone, or it could be a sensor that measures temperature or whatever, is these are not computers, you know. If you look at mining, you imagine people with very expensive machines and equipment, and they're running ASICs or whatever to mine. Well, you need dedicated computers. But what IOTW essentially is doing is it allows everyday consumer devices, whether it's consumer electronics like your smart TV, coffee maker, cell phone, it could be logistics, RFID, QR codes and barcodes, it could be mobile devices, even POS systems, cash registers, so everyday electronics. It allows those electronic items, and sometimes even dumb ones, meaning these are not devices that are connected to a web or they don't have crypto wallets in it. You allow them to be able to mine by participating in a network and make money from it. So I think this is a big breakthrough because now you don't have to be a miner. Consumers don't have to know mining, and they can participate in blockchain economy. Isn't that great, right? Now, how they do it is they have a patented proof, a consensus mechanism called proof of assignment. And basically, this proof of assignment, or POA for short, allows devices to do mining without the disadvantages of proof of stake and proof of work, such as Bitcoin, right? Some people ask me, well, are you going to burn out the device? Are you going to use a lot of electricity to do mining? Well, the answer is no, because they don't need to use major electricity. With proof of assignment, you don't need to overclock the memory or have processing power. You can just, with no additional electric usage, with no additional processing power, that simple device can do mining. Isn't that great? And in a way, this is green. It's environmentally friendly, right? It's actually the fairest way to decentralize mining, because now you don't have to be like Bitmain or a Bitferry to own all the mining devices in order to participate. This is a fair micro mining for everyday people. Now, at the same time, you might ask, will you be able to make a lot of money? Probably not as much as a dedicated miner. Don't expect to make 1 Bitcoin per day, right? That won't work. You might make a couple extra $1,000s a year, maybe more, maybe less. But let me ask you this question. If we ever want blockchain to go to mass market, you need to be able to get the mass market to use it. Think about the masses in developing countries that cannot afford the latest iPhone or the latest expensive laptop. Now imagine if micromining can generate an extra couple $1,000s per year. Isn't that essentially able to pay for the device? So I believe this technology will be able to give birth to a freemium business model where you can literally give out consumers free devices that's literally subsidized by the mining, and the mining could either be kept by the company or given to the consumers, depends on the business model. And that itself would mean a whole lot for empowering people of developing countries to get up to date with technology. Wouldn't you think so? And even if we're not paying for the free device, imagine how many of your friends would like it if I gave them a cell phone, a cheap cell phone, but their data, their call, how many minutes they have, is free. Every night they opt in. If they opt in, it does mining, and they will be able to use the phone for free. up to a certain amount because it's subsidized by mining. So this is the possibility. Right now, IOTW works with mining IOTW tokens. However, in the future, the founder told me they can tweak the tech and it might even work with other ERC20 tokens or whatnot. So in a sense, this makes this type of dream or vision very possible. So that's called micromining, right? And then I'll get a little bit in technology, but I don't want to bore you guys. The reason why this works and it won't have a 51% attack is normally in mining, you need to have the ledger, so the blockchain, the full state of the blockchain on the computer, right? Whoever's doing the mining. So in this case, the device is a small device. It's a phone, it's a sensor. There's no way you can store blockchain in it. It takes many gigabytes, right? Especially if the blockchain is huge. So in this mining method, they basically have a separate layer. They call it a trusted node layer that holds the ledger, and that's decentralized. Proof of assignment will determine who will get to run this trust node, but it can really be any computer system, okay? So right now, they're still figuring out the token economics to incentivize them, you know, what they get, but pretty much the general idea at the high level is transaction fees from the validations will be paid to people who want to be a trusted node to basically hold a copy of the IOTW ledger, okay? The device, okay, so how it works is a block is processed in a trusted node, then the block is passed to the device. In this case, it could be a cell phone, your microwave, your air conditioner. And in that firmware, the IoT device will be a validating node, and it will generate a hash with a key, and that hash will be passed back in a trusted node. Another thing that simultaneously happens is the same block will be passed to a random cluster of validation nodes that will validate, so that serves as a witness of this validation. So if all of the hashes match as it goes back to a chain, then it gets validated, okay? And they also have something called a backup chain, so pretty much once validated, they make a copy of it, so there's always a backup, just as for redundancy. So in order for a 51% attack to happen, the attacker must be able to hack the trusted nodes and on top know exactly who are the validating nodes, which are randomly chosen from the entire network, and hack those too, and which is highly unlikely. So therefore, it is completely protected from most 51% attacks, even if the entire 51% or more of the trusted nodes are compromised, the network is still safe. So this is very practical and very awesome. So IOTW, what is it in a nutshell? It's a blockchain system for commercial and domestic use. It's designed for home and commercial appliances, logistics, RFID, QR codes, barcode applications. You can do a lot of things with it. It's an instant payment system to facilitate the transfer of value globally. Right? The current speed is 3,000 transactions per second across Pacific. It can do daily transactions, international transfers, and it's also a decentralized marketplace where manufacturers can connect with end customers directly, know the data of the IoT device if the end customers opt in and share and sell their data, perhaps for diagnostic use or whatever other use that's valuable, maybe for ad tech, you know, and then you can reduce the reliance on middlemen and centralized marketing channels. So I'm going to skip this. So right now, the state of where is IOTW right now as a company. So the founders, who I know personally, have a very, very, very strong enterprise background. They already have partnerships with, first of all, let's talk about accomplishments. In terms of firmware, basically chipsets, they have already successfully installed their software onto different chipsets, like the Wi-Fi chipsets of Realtek and ExpressIF, which are widely used in laptops, appliances, in routers, that kind of thing. So right now, I mean, there are hundreds and millions of these devices in the world that use that chipset. So they already solved that technical challenge of implementing IOTW in that specific firmware. Second, they're already doing alphas and pilots with a multitude of different ecosystem partners. There are some names here. We have actually at Constamobile. They're an India-based mobile phone provider. They make millions of cell phones. Android cell phones. They're a manufacturer, and they have given permission for IOTW to do up alpha for hundreds of thousands of their cell phones with this technology. Vortex, it's another Hong Kong listed company. They make smart light bulbs. I know this company because my personal company actually is working with them and Vortex right now on a use case. So they're allowing us to design their chipset, the smart chipset from scratch, all the firmware, everything. And so they have hundreds of millions of smart light bulbs. You might think light bulbs aren't sexy, right? I mean, they're just Christmas lights. But in a sense, this will be a very good pilot to test the scalability of this, because you're talking about hundreds of millions of smart devices. We're simply adding a little chip onto the light bulb so it can connect to the internet. It's smart. I can detect the IP address. I can detect the location. I have a MAC address. I can detect maybe temperature. I can simply detect even if the light bulb's on and off. Simple functionality to know whether or not it needs repair. So that's an alpha. If that works, then we can go on to even more complicated devices such as air purifiers, white goods, cell phones, air conditioners, refrigerators, smart TVs, etc. Right? Right now, IOTW has a handful of different companies already saying, hey, if you have the ERC20 IOTW token, we will accept it as payment, or the native token if they decide to go mainnet down the line on a roadmap. So for a company that has not even completed a token sale yet, they're actually at a miss of a token sale right now, private pre-sale. They're already way ahead of the game. I remember as a VC, as an investor, a lot of projects that ask for millions of dollars don't even have an MVP, they don't have a product. Maybe it's a proof of concept on paper with a small demo, but these guys, I believe, are way ahead of the trend and sets the example and bar of what a legitimate technology company should be. They have working product with 3,000 transactions per second. They have active partnerships. They're actively looking into different pilots with different companies and products. So one of the new partnerships that IOTW is going through is a partnership with IoT Block. IoT Block is another company in the IoT space I'm one of the founders for, and we're actually building something really cool together. The point of decentralization is to make economy very efficient and simple. So instead of dealing with companies, let's have human-to-human economy. For me, I like to say machine-to-machine, because that's the future, or human-to-machine. Enabled for that to happen, we need complete cross-chain data interoperability and have trustless governance of all the different devices, right? So just imagine, to make this very simple, the use case we're experimenting with right now is how do you catalog a machine, say a phone, and let's say there's no crypto wallet in it, but we will assign it a virtual wallet linked to this phone. We might even have a KYC identifier linked to this device, because there might be certain laws we got to adhere to. So now you have a phone who does not have any manufacturer, does not have a crypto wallet in it, that can do crypto transactions. It's a virtual crypto wallet of any cryptocurrency, and that is a building block of a machine-to-machine economy. So we're exploring that right now. This may sound very far-fetched, but I like to have you guys envision a future where, imagine you wake up every day, you just open your phone, your app, turn it on, and then you can open one of our apps, and you'll see a list of all of the devices and assets you own. You look at it, you see your car, you see your microwave, you see your refrigerator, all of it. And simply by clicking on that app, you can see exactly what's going on. Is it running? Is it broken? You can see how much money it has in that device, maybe from the mining, or maybe if you're a business owner, that app helped you do a sale of some sort and a vendor paid you because it's a smart TV and it did a sale. And you'll see a wallet next to every single smart device. And then you want to, let's say, pay for your insurance on the app or pay for a subscription. And all you do is just click and the transaction goes from that device wallet to the vendor and pays for it. Or it'll do auto payments if you set up that way. That is the future we envision, where there's less paperwork, less legal challenges, everything is transparent. You have full ownership of your devices, the data they collect from you and your lives publicly. You know exactly how companies use it. You can sell it if you want. You don't have to if you don't want. And you can control granularly how to spend the money made from your devices, which in any case would be a depreciating asset if you didn't have IOTW. So that is the future that the management team of IOTW and IoT Block wants to bring. You have Fred as their founder and CEO, 2 IPOs. We have Marcian Dundar, who's a spectacular technologist, built 2 IPOs. This guy hacked, I believe, PlayStation at the age of 12 or something like that. He's a technical genius. And you have many other wonderful C-level executives who have real experiences building publicly traded companies and hold many inventions and patents under their belt. The token sale is going on right now. They're selling 2.56 billion tokens. That's the total supply. Token price is about 0.055 cents per token. The hard cap's at 20 million. The bonus in private sale is about 25% bonus with vesting or lock and 10% release per month without any per month. Or you can choose to not have bonus and there's no lockup. So anyway, this is ongoing right now. If anyone have any questions, want to learn more about this, you can talk to the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. She's right there. You can talk to her. And then Rebecca, she's sitting here. Or you can find a booth out there. Some of you see me there. Other than that, I don't want to go into too much technical details. I think my 10 minutes is up. Once again, I thank you for everyone's time, and thank you for your time letting me share just one of the many awesome projects I know out there that can help blockchain technology go mainstream, especially in IoT. Thank you very much.